Welcome to our webinar. Like we do with every webinar, this webinar is being recorded. Um, so let's get started. So just the first thing I want to throw out there is this little quote. I can't remember where I got it from. It says, "The rich live well, while the wealthy sleep well." The wealthy sleep well because they have enough passive income to cover their expenses. Now, how many of you would like to sleep well and have the peace of mind that your expenses are covered by obviously your passive income? And that is, I think, is um, everybody's dream to be in that situation. And I also came across this little quote. I found it also interesting. Time is a luxury that money can afford. Um, and I think that is what a happy retirement is all about: to be in the situation to do what you want to, when you want to, and how you want to. So that is just a bit of an introduction, and I think uh, that's what you want to strive towards. But if you look at what's happening with the current situation with a lot of people, and I want to tell you three little stories, and I think it illustrates, and I think some of you could relate to some of these stories. We have a situation where the pensioners, old age pension, they're finding themselves, pensioners or people who are going on retirement are finding themselves in a crisis situation. I was quite surprised when I did my research to find out the grant, pension fund grant. If you're 60 years and older, obviously you qualify for it, but you qualify for an amount of 1,420 rand per month. If you're older than 75 years, you get 1,440 rand. Now that was quite scary, and I thought, wow, okay. So that's the one scenario. But I want to tell you three scenarios, and some of you might have seen this advert before, where the old lady comes home off the bus and things like that. She comes home and opens her house, and she goes to the cupboard and opens up a tin of food for a dog, and you think it's going to give it to the dog, and she actually ends up eating it. And that was quite a shocker for me. So and the whole story there is that people are failing to plan for the retirement. This old lady, obviously, in the situation where her husband, being the breadwinner, and everybody, the woman always rely on the men to be the provider. Obviously, it wasn't enough. That's the one scenario. The other story is that as with technology and medical advancement, we're finding that life expectancy in old age is increasing. So if you're a man of 65, you can look forward to another 19 years and expect another 12 years at 75, another 6 years at 85, another 3 at 95. So people are living longer because obviously of the medical advancement. If you're a woman who's 65, you should anticipate a further 21 years and then further 13 when you're at 75, and 7 years at 85, and 3 years at 95. So people are living longer, and obviously they are running out of money. That's a challenge for a lot of people right now. And I think, as I say, so some of us can relate to that story. Um, People are rushing to cash in their pensions too soon, and obviously underestimating that how long they'll be likely to live. So and this is the third scenario. The first story, a lot of people at the age of 65 are still forced to carry on working. And the problem here in South Africa is that we've got a high unemployment rate, and you can't find jobs so easily and work, especially when you're that age. So what you to do, and that's a big problem. So that's a one scenario, and this is on the next scenario is something that relates to me. It's what we call the sandwich generation. I never heard of this before, but now it makes big sense to me. Sandwich generation is that group of people sandwiched between two generations. It's made up of the baby boomers and Generation X. And we find that we, on the one hand, have to support obviously our children, provide education, schooling, and everything for our children. But also on the other hand, we have to take care of aging parents. Uh, so that is what we call the sandwich generation. And by the way, if you're not 100% sure of the baby boomers, the baby boomers were born roughly between between the years of 1946 and 1964. So you should be between the age of 51 and 70 years old in 2016. Now, I'm just on the cusp of that. I'm in what they call the Generation X or Gen X. We're the guys that were born early 1960s to early 1980s. So yeah, I'm exactly in that situation. I've got my mother-in-law that lives with us, and we have to look after her. So that's the one side of the coin. The other side of it was also interesting to realize is that these sandwich generation, 28% of them still find that they living comfortably, that they can cope. That means 72% are not. 30% have enough to cover their basic expenses with a little extras. Okay, that means 70% do not. 30% are just able to meet basic expenses. Okay, 70% are not. 11% do not have enough to meet basic needs. So the question is, if you still got your parents alive, and obviously you might find that they have not provided enough for their retirement, have you taken your parents' financial situation into consideration? So these are some of the scenarios you want to take into your financial planning. And also, and this is the research I came across on the website, the group of people I'm in, the Generation X, 74% of people in that age group are worrying about not saving enough for retirement. We got a slowing economy, we got rising interest rates. I was reading an article yesterday where next week's budget speech, they're talking about a 1% increase in income tax, personal income tax. So at the end of the day, you're going to have less disposable income also. 25% are not confident they could retire and not having to work anymore. 67 are worried about not planning enough for retirement. So there's a lot of unawareness or people being ignorant about future planning. That is a big problem. And 55% worry about having to take on too much debt, obviously, as we go into retirement. So it's doom and gloom, eh? Nah, there are opportunities all the way. So what is the ideal situation? So the ideal situation is obviously being in a situation where in your golden years that you have the ability to retire. It doesn't have to be the age of 65, and obviously you retire much earlier than that. But the whole idea is having peace of mind, that everything's in place. You got that security, that your investments are in place, and you got enough income. This is going right back to the quote I said in the beginning. The rich live well, but the wealthy sleep well. So the whole idea, as I say, to have a peace of mind. I like his little picture here because it shows you what I call swan. You'll be able to sleep well at night. Okay, but what does that mean? So you can be in a situation where you enjoy your golden years. You worked hard for your whole life. Now it's time to travel. I loved cruises, but also just being in a situation where you're having the time to do what you want to when you want to. You can go on luxury train trips and play more golf, tennis, lawn bowls, you name it. But it's not only that. I was talking to someone last night in Cape Town. Being in a situation where you can make a difference. You can either be, getting involved in charity, or you're mentoring a younger person. The whole idea is you still got purpose in your life. And that I think is important, but you can only do that. And I think in the next slide, I love this slide. And again, I can't remember where I got it from. This little quote: the greatest gift that you can give your children, and even to yourself, is to have financial freedom in your retirement. So I like that idea. So yeah, it's working towards that ideal. Okay. So how do we get there? The whole idea is that what are we proposing today in this webinar is obviously to take advantage of the tax year, or the tax season. That's the title of the presentation. With tax year obviously coming up, the 29th of February, fast approaching, is a good time to obviously either, if you've got a retirement annuity, top up if you've got extra funds, or take out a retirement annuity, because there are a lot of attractive tax benefits, and we'll talk about it now. So what are the benefits? What are we proposing? Obviously, the retirement annuities, first of all, the contributions are tax-free. I'll go into more detail just now, or tax deductible up to certain limits. But also, the income, you don't pay any income tax, capital gains tax, or dividend withholding tax on the growth and things like that. So that translates into higher growth potential. So that's something to consider. But so what does this mean to you? Okay, what are the benefits? There are three groups of people that this is aimed at. So, the first person that you want to look at, first of all, you have to take in consideration that's only aimed at individuals. That you can't take out an RA in the name of a trust or a company that is only aimed at individuals. So individuals, first of all. Secondly, if you are not a member of a pension or provident fund, okay, if you're not a member, all your remuneration, your salary, after tax money, we call it non-pensionable income. Okay, you can claim 15% of that as a tax-free deduction towards an RA. Okay, so first group, individuals that are not part of a pension or provident fund as yet. You're not part of your company's pension or provident fund. So that's the first group. The second group, those of you that are working on commission, salespeople, and you're not part of your company's provident fund and things like that. Your bonus, your commission, all that kind of stuff, you can also claim 15% as a tax-free deduction. Okay, and then the third group, I know a lot of you guys on this webinar today are self-employed, and you're the third group. All your remuneration is non-pensionable, and you can claim up to 15% of your remuneration as a tax-free deduction. By the way, when I say 15%, that could be changing now soon, on the 1st of March, or possibly next year. That'll change where you can deduct up to 27.5% of your gross remuneration. Okay, but obviously up to a limit of 350,000. So that could be changing, but the whole idea is still you're getting a tax-free deduction. Use it. That's the whole gist of the presentation today. So those are the people who can benefit from the retirement annuities. Let's look at when can you benefit. So in general, you can only access your retirement annuity, and here we'll talk about it in the next slide, where the idea is that you protect yourself, but you can only access your retirement at the age of retirement, or sorry, at the age of 55. However, there are three scenarios. You can withdraw your full RA investment in cash if you emigrate, number one. If the RA investment is less than 7,000 Rand, unless obviously you're also in ill health. Those are the three scenarios where you obviously can withdraw it a bit earlier. Now, why do we have it locked in? And I think I like this idea here where you can take a third, okay? You take a maximum of a third in cash. Obviously, anything above that also that you invested, plus any amounts invested not deducted for tax. That's number one. The other 2/3 have to be reinvested into a approved compulsory, call it the living annuity. And the idea that's going to pay you a regular monthly pension for life. Now, those of you that are self-employed, I like a scenario in the sense that you are preparing for the future, but you also don't have access to all your funds. I was reading an article in the UK where they've changed the laws slightly, where you could take all your money up front. So people are going and squandering and buying themselves Lamborghinis, and suddenly they don't have enough money. So this is where that Russell Lamborghini story comes in, where people are living in rusted Lamborghinis. Okay, so that makes you just think why you want to prepare for the future. And as I say, it's capital protection. Okay, so going to the next one. There are 3 tax benefits. Now, that's what obviously the whole presentation was about. 3 tax benefits. First of all, your contributions, as I say, are tax deductible. I mentioned before, up to 15% of non-pensionable taxable income. And by the way, non-pensionable taxable income, all it is that it's the taxable investment income. That's your salary, whatever the case might be. So the whole idea is that this reduces your tax liability. It means more money in your pocket. Okay. If you contribute more, by the way, you may claim excess amounts in future tax years. So you can put more than obviously your 15%, but you can claim that back in future years. That's number one. Number two, you also add your excess contributions to the tax-free portion of any lump sum you receive. So there's no limits. You can obviously put in more. It's your money, your investment, your future. That's the first tax benefit. The second benefit I mentioned just now, obviously investment returns are tax-free. Remember, you don't pay any income tax, capital gains tax, or dividend withholding tax. Okay, so as I said, this boosts your investment growth. And the third benefit you get is that the benefits are taxed at a favorable rate. So obviously annuity payments, those monthly payments are taxed as income. obviously, and on personal income tax tables, and that lump sum obviously works on a sliding scale. So yeah, you can see the amounts. This is the first third, and that's the 2/3 that you reinvest. You can see the tax scales at this point in time. Okay, so some of you might have some questions, and I'll try and anticipate some of those questions. Why PSG? Why PSG? First of all, obviously we got the expert support here to help you guys. Flexibility, one platform, and you've got a range of funds to choose from. That's nice. Also, you got reduced cost. If you look at investing in PSG funds, obviously the incentive is lower cost, number one. Remember, we don't charge any switching fees or initial fees, all that kind of stuff. So those are some of the benefits you can look at by having a retirement annuity with PSG Wealth. But some of you might be asking, how do I go about it? How do I invest? First of all, you can either make a lump sum investment, you can do monthly debit orders, or you can do ad hoc contributions. And by the way, if you find that things are getting a bit tight, you can stop your contributions for a while, and then obviously it's very, very flexible. So the idea is that you don't have it paid up, but it's flexible. When it comes to lump sum investments, we do have a minimum requirement. Our minimum lump sum is 20,000, and the debit order 500 Rand per month. And from there, obviously, you can split it up into different funds and things like that. Okay. What's interesting also, you can have as many retirement annuities as you wish. Okay. The tax benefit is determined in aggregate, so it's combined. It's not in respect to each individual RA. So I found it was interesting also that tax relief on contributions is limited to 15% of non-pensionable income, irrespective of the number of RAs you might have. The tax-free lump sum, by the way, can only be claimed once. Okay, so I hope that also might have answered some of your questions for you. What about the underlying investments? And now this is where a lot of people might say that there's restrictions on the RA. Remember that ZT protects you. So yes, the underlying investments have to comply with what they call Regulation 28 of the Pension Fund Act. So there are limits with exposure towards equity. You can't have more than 75% equity exposure, number one. And obviously also limits offshore exposure. So, but there's a whole range of unit trusts you can choose from. So you can click on this link here. It will take you through to our funds list, and you can see what funds are qualified. So remember, it's not only PSG funds, there are a lot of other funds to choose from. Okay. How do you go about opening up an account? Here's the little steps quickly to go through it. Obviously, go to the website, click on the register button, and then there's 6 steps you'll follow. What's important is the step 3, where you select unit trusts. Okay. So once that's done, you go back, and obviously you go through the whole process where you log in again, and then from there you can start choosing all funds. You know, we're there to help you, and I'll show you what to do next just now. Just see if there's any questions you guys might have. Let me just quickly, maximize the questions here. What questions do we have? Sound is on. There's no questions, guys. Where's the questions? Okay, Stuart. Yeah, I'm too scared to restart this webinar because it's so finicky, the software. Okay, looks like there's no questions from you guys today. Okay. Hey guys, well, looks like through the presentation I answered all your questions for you. So, in conclusion, what I want you to remember from this presentation is obviously to take advantage of the tax season. RA contributions are tax deductible. You don't pay any income tax. Obviously, high earning potential, growth potential rather. But the whole idea is that you're planning for your retirement so you can have that peace of mind. So if you've got an RA, top up. If you haven't, open up an RA account. So next steps, what to do now, register for RA account. For more information, if you want more information on RAs, you can click on this link on our website. You can also email our client service department, or you can also give them a call. If I can really ask you a favor, when I send out the presentation to you guys, that you answer the survey for us. Okay, look like there's some questions coming through now quickly. Whoa, lots of questions. Okay, I appreciate these questions. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Okay, if you're in your 20s, is it better to contribute to an RA or start with other investments? Lisa, I'm not a financial advisor, but I know from either from the 1st of March this year or from the 1st of March next year, there's this whole retirement reform coming in place. So the move is towards RAs anyway. So where the government is worried about people not having enough income, enough savings in the retirement years, so everything is moving towards RAs. So to answer your question, start now. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Does a living annuity have to be a Reg 28 compliant? Yes, it has to be, Eleanor. After you've taken out your first lump sum, it has to be. It's compulsory. Okay. Thanks for your question, Eleanor. If I do a lump sum contribution, is it advisable to do it as early as possible during the year, or second spread it evenly in the tax year? Well, Quibus, good question, Quibus. You want to take advantage of the next few days to take advantage of the tax season now. So whatever extra funds you got now until the end of February, I'll suggest you use that. And then obviously, take advantage of rank cost averaging. Have a debit order, or ad hoc amounts over the year, so you can spread it out. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Will you do the presentation, PHG website, Tony? Good question, Tony. Yeah, that'll be near the end of March, Tony. That's the PHG website presentation. Yeah, good question, Tony. Are RAs protected from creditors? Yes, definitely. Okay. Pleasure, Eleanor. Okay. Guys, I really appreciate the questions, and like that's all of the questions now. Okay. Awesome. Okay, as I say, I'll be sending this presentation either today or tomorrow morning out to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just quickly, upcoming webinars to answer Teddy's question. Next week, we're talking about fundamental analysis, 6 financial ratios you should be using. So we're looking at more the research platform and that kind of stuff. Those of you more into technical analysis, my approach to technical analysis doesn't have to be complicated. You can make a graph spaghetti and confusing, or you can make it simple. And then the end of or middle of March, we're going to talk more about trading derivatives and how to obviously maximize your capital. But from my side, guys, thanks a lot. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. And thanks for taking out the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. So there's my contact details, any questions you might have, or phone number you want to get hold of me. Thanks a lot. Bye. Whoa, here's another question. There's a question coming through here. Whoa, okay, let me answer this quickly. Hey, William, yes, thanks. I had a good trip back to Joburg. Yeah, and thanks for attending last night. Does PHG have a living lifestyle policies with RAs? Tony, I'm not 100% sure, but I can find out for you and then answer you back on email or phone you. Okay. Stuart, pleasure. Thanks a lot. Okay. Tony, I'll have to come back to you. I'm not 100% sure of your question. That is already to go into after retirement. Living lifestyle. I'm not 100% sure of that, of living lifestyle. We call it living annuities. But Tony, I'll have to get back to you on that one. Okay. But guys, thanks a lot. And I appreciate all the questions. That's the one. Living annuity. Okay. Yes, we do. Okay. Tony, I'll get back to you on that one. I'll get Sufakazi to phone you. Okay. Pleasure, Tony. Okay. Bye-bye. Guys, thanks a lot. Until next week. Keep well. All the best. Bye.